in just a couple of months. Now, balancing budgets isn't easy, and I know, and as Victor introduced me, it pointed out that I've had to do it, but it's not easy. You do have to make tough choices, and you don't make a lot of friends in the legislature when you cut their earmarks and you veto excessive spending and government overreach. But it's time. We have to do this for America's solvency, for our future's sake. We have to make the tough decisions. And we have to get back to allowing the little guy that Reagan spoke of. Let that little guy come first. First in California, first in the country, ahead of special interests, ahead of political cronies, ahead of, you know, the big union bosses that are willing to bankrupt America for their power. And when I talk about these unions, I have great respect for our brothers and sisters within the unions who are just really having a desire to provide well for their families and have benefits for their family. It's the union bosses who have so abused their power in order just to hold on to power. One, they're making unions look bad, these union bosses. And we need to keep that in mind when we have our debates and discussions about what's going on with the unions. But some of these bosses, man, I'll say it right now, they are thugs, and they are not looking out for their power struggle within, internally, and they're making that manifest by being extremely, I think, abusive of the power that their membership has provided them. So you remember the old line, lead, follow, or get out of the way. Well, Washington isn't leading us anywhere but towards that brink there, right? Towards the edge of the cliff. Obama and Boxer and Pelosi and Reid, they won't follow what it is that the American people are telling them to do, and trillions in deficit spending and Obamacare are proof of that. So let's respectfully suggest that they get out of the way.
Yes. Yes.
And it could start right here in California. It needs to start in California. In the Central Valley, for instance. How about putting the welfare of thousands of hardworking Californians ahead of a 2-inch fish?
Yeah, that's right.
We call that bait. And people and families and jobs are more important than bait. And there I said it. Now PETA and everybody else are going to come after me. In D.C. decided that this 2-inch fish was more important than the people who've worked this land for generations and have fed our nation with their crops. Now they've lost their farms and their crops and their livelihood because of a government-imposed drought on you all. Shutting off water supplies to the people, to the farms, to the agriculture lands that are needed. No, California deserves better than that, and a new positive direction must be undertaken, and it can't start here in California. What a dramatic shift that's just going to wake up the entire nation when we do see that shift here starting in California. Now consider solutions. We've talked about a lot of problems, and you all know it as well, better than I do, what the localized problems are caused by government overreach. Consider solutions, though. In 1980, in the midst of a terrible recession, voters chose that new positive direction that we talk about and is so needed here today. They chose a new positive leader with a different vision for America. And he came from here. He, Ronald Reagan, he cut taxes, he cut regulations. He made decisions that would bring a new prosperity to America. For the next 2 decades, he had put us right on the right track. He rejected those who wanted to over-regulate the new technology industry. Instead, he got government out of the way of the high-tech revolution that was sweeping the nation, especially here in California. And America came back bigger and better than ever. What an example that you all have, those roots here Ronald Reagan could stand on and grow from and bring prosperity to the rest of the nation from here. Friends, common sense never goes out of style. We saw how he applied it back then. It still works today. The 2010 and 2012 elections, because real change will take these next two elections. These elections are the most important of our generation. Real America is at a tipping point. A lot of people are saying that we're at a breaking point. We have got to change directions. We must step up to the plate and win the big game for the little guy, the middle class, the unemployed, the overtaxed, the overregulated. And we don't have to wait 56 years for it. We don't have to wait 56 days for it even. November 2nd is right around the corner. I can see it from my house.
Right from her house.
And beyond our chance, it's our obligation, really, our obligation to change direction. That obligation that we have, it's now. Our other generations of Americans have faced really big challenges too. I think that this is our challenge. But I don't doubt for 1 minute that the American spirit is still alive, is still well. We can meet this challenge. We're Americans. There is nothing that a good old election can't fix when we consider what the challenges are in front of us, right? Our spirit can soar again. And if anyone needs proof, just look at the courage and the spirit of our military men and women who fight our wars for us. Just consider these military men and women as they fight for our rights and our values in faraway battles. They are American heroes, and they're selfless, and they're spirited, and they're loyal, and they're patriotic. They are the best of America. And you know, one of those heroes was from right here in San Jose, Pat Tillman, who gave up the money and the glamour of the NFL. And his family sacrificed, giving up a pro football career to serve his country, and he ultimately giving his life for our freedom. You know, remember to thank God every day for Pat, for his family, for the thousands like him who make us so proud to be Americans. And you know, when I hear people say or had said during the campaign that they had never been proud of America until that time, I think, haven't they met anybody in uniform yet? I mean, I get tears in my eyes when I see that young man, that young woman walking through the Like Pat Tillman, it's in your blood, California. It is here. It is here, that desire, that craving of freedom, of opportunity, of an exceptional America again. It's in you to fight for what is right. And what a tradition that you have here when it comes to that patriotism and that respect of our military and fighting for what is right. This area has always had a long military tradition. In World War II, for thousands of soldiers and seamen boarding ships bound for the Pacific, you know, their very last glimpse of America before they headed out was here. It was the golden hills of San Francisco Bay. Their sweethearts would watch them go from the top of the mark. This place is very, very significant. It's very special. Here, you know that sacrificing for the greater good is an American tradition. This place is significant, and I believe that it's time that we make the tough choices to meet the tough challenges that are in front of our country for the future of our children and to preserve the greatest country on earth.